Thanks for staying with Hamilton Kicks It Up. Now, kids, if you've ever been told you suck, or you'll never amount to anything, or you can't do that because you don't have this, this, and this, well, this gentleman here is going to say they're all full of beans. Aren't they,
true.
Ron?
I've been called
Ron
everything.
Foxcroft.
Been called everything.
You've been called everything.
Yeah, and had a police escort out of every state in the Union, except Alaska.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
as a referee, I'm sure people
As a
get
ref.
very passionate about the games that they're watching, and they need to protect you, right?
Particularly soccer. We're going to experience that in Hamilton. You know, I've been to 2 Pan Am games as an official, one in Puerto Rico, one in Indianapolis. Indianapolis was absolutely out of sight. It was just, everything about it was perfect. The venue, the transportation, the accommodations, the food, everything for the athletes was fantastic.
Would you say that was the key to a successful games?
Yeah, you know, there's many keys, and Hamilton have some great leaders to understand. But yes, it has to be athlete-centric. Athlete-centric. That's the first thing. The accommodation has to be great. The food has to be great. Transportation has to be fantastic to and from the venues, and of course the cultural activities. What's going on in Hamilton at Gore Park, at Gage Park, and you know, too, the other thing, we need trained and qualified volunteers. And Hamilton, I'm a lifer, Hamiltonian. Hamilton have the best event volunteers anywhere in Canada. We have fantastic, and Greg Maychek was telling me that we've recruited and trained 4,000 volunteers. So they're also key to a good game. The other thing, Danielle, having been to 2 Pan Americans and some Olympics, it's very important. Like if someone in a perfect world said to you, what sport would you like in Hamilton?
I would pick soccer, hands down.
You're the winner. You're the winner. It's the most, basketball's my business, but soccer is the most popular sport in the world. And people are so passionate. It's also national pride.
Oh, it is, totally.
You know, everyone says, how come everybody's passionate in soccer? Well, number one, they love soccer. They love the game. Number two, they love their country. And they live and die with their country.
Do you think that's why people get so crazed fanatic over soccer rather than, say, another sport that's not so culturally based, because they take it personally?
I'll give you a comparison. Canadians are passionate about hockey. And when a Canadian team is in a game, Canadians understand the game. It's important that you understand the game. In my sport, basketball, Canadians didn't start to understand the game until the Raptors came to Canada. In soccer, pretty much around the world, especially in the Americas, people grow up with soccer. They start playing it, they leave their diapers at home, and they get a soccer ball, and they start playing soccer. So from the time you're 3 years old till you're an adult, you understand the game of soccer. So there's a great amount of enthusiasm, excitement, and passion.
So knowing that there's that amount of excitement and enthusiasm from a young age with a sport like soccer.
Yes.
In your opinion, since you have all this experience of dealing with professional and amateur athletes, what is the caliber of athlete we're going to see? Because there's going to be teams that are sending their best players, and there's going to be some teams that might not be.
Most teams will send their best player. This will probably be the highest caliber soccer we've ever seen in Hamilton, in Canada. They're going to send the Americas and the South Americas, they're going to send their best players. These players are going to be very, very highly skilled, particularly in soccer. Not necessarily in basketball, but basketball is going to be great, but they're not going to send the dream team.
Right.
But in soccer, you're going to see the very best players. It's going to be a very high caliber soccer, and exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. And I think that I have to touch on something that I think is completely ironic and a little bit hilarious.
Yeah.
The fact that you got your start at Mohawk College.
Yes.
And a coach basically said, Ron, you suck.
Yeah.
And I want you out. And then somebody else said, no, give him a chance. He's going to stay.
That's right.
And then you got your start, and now look at you.
Yeah.
And now they're giving you a degree.
Yeah.
How is that? Would you not say Mohawk College, like, seriously, I started out, you wanted to kick me out, but now you want to give me a degree? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I did suck. And that's the one thing about when I started, I was rotten. And, you know, my first game at Mohawk, I got paid 75 cents, and they asked for change. They said, you're rotten and you suck. And they said, we don't want you back. But, you know, now that was important because I had a great mentor. I had many mentors. You know, you can never succeed in life alone. There's no such a thing as wonderful as succeeding as a team. And I had wonderful mentors that believed that they saw a little bit of potential. I wasn't the smartest guy in the neighborhood, but I was the hardest working guy in the neighborhood. And when they told me at Mohawk, you suck, I went home and said,
oh, I'm not saying we're not putting down Mohawk College as a thing, because I started out at Mohawk College, and let me tell you, my first newscast, you might say that I suck too.
Yeah.
But you get practice, and there's mentors like all over that help you out, right?
Yeah, and as a referee mentality, you have thick skin. So you just go back and you say, well, then I'm going to work harder.
And look at you now. You're making artwork out of whistles to give to the Queen.
Yeah.
You have to tell us about that.
Yeah, well, we worked with the Queen staff for 4 months. And the staff at Buckingham Palace said, you know, the Queen loves poppies.
Take a look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
And I
you wouldn't know by looking at it right there that they're whistles.
Well, so we work with the staff. You know, there's 650 staff at Buckingham Palace. And we work with the staff, and it came back, the Queen loves poppies. And the staff said, can you make...
There's you meeting the Queen there?
Yeah, she's a wonderful lady. She looked beautiful. Look at that dress. She is
You would
absolutely...
never think a lady like that, though, would drive a John Deere tractor. Is that true? Tell me that that's true.
You don't think that's true. The Queen said, let me show you my beautiful little garden. And I have an event here tomorrow night. And I said, oh, in your little garden, how many people? She said, 8,000. And
little garden, 8,000
and
people.
I turned to her and I said, Your Majesty, you've done a wonderful job cutting the lawn. And she said, yes, that's my John Deere riding lawnmower right over there. And right in the corner...
the image of the Queen riding a tractor.
Well, she's a mechanic by trade. When she was a princess, she was a mechanic. A wonderful lady. So the staff said...
Look at an example.
Make something Canadian. So our people made this beautiful poppy out of Canadian-made Fox 40s, framed in Canada, by Canadians. Everything about it was Canadian. And when we got there, it was very special to her. Not a promotion for Fox 40. It was a very special from the heart gift from the Argyles and from Canada. And it was on her easel in her apartment, sitting there. And,
wow. Well, how does that make you feel? Because you've gone all over the world. You've done all these amazing things. What does it feel like to have something like that happen?
Proud to be a Canadian. Because she then went on and said, you know, the best soldiers, the best reserves, the best recognized, the best trained reservists in the world are Canadians. And
that's amazing.
That really makes you feel good at being a Canadian, that the Queen, you know, meeting the Queen, that was never on my bucket list. You know, if you had said to me, you're going to meet the Queen, I'd say, no, that's not ever going to happen. If you had said to me before 2007, you're going to get the Pan Am Games in Hamilton.
Then that would be...
But thank goodness Dr. Sutton and Greg Maychuk were here.
Well, there you go. Well, round of applause for them. And for you, Ron, thanks for stopping by. There's always so many stories to tell when Ron comes by. And right after the break, we'll continue with some more.